Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar in Global Research Opportunities with MSCA Actions. EURAXESS Africa is delighted to welcome you to this informative webinar dedicated to Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, flagship program for the that promotes international research mobility and supports the career development of researchers at all stages. This session is designed to provide researchers, academics, and research managers across Africa with key insight into MSCA opportunities, in particular the postdoctoral fellowships. We are honored to welcome Mr. Dora Zifra from the MSCA unit at DG EAC, who will present the last updates in the program. We will also hear from Mr. Cristina Gomez, the EURAXESS Worldwide Coordinator, who will share practical guidance and tips on how to participate effectively in MSCA actions. Don't hesitate to ask your questions. Our speakers are here today to help you to navigate the MSCA landscape and unlock your global research potential. So now we will give the floor to our guest for today, Dora Zifra. Dora, please, the floor is yours. I will share my screen for you. And go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Ahmed, and thank you for organizing these sessions. We really think that these are the most useful format to do a deep dive and to understand MSCA better. That can be sometimes a bit complicated. Today, and first of all, just to introduce myself, I'm the policy officer at the Directorate General of Education and Culture, and I am in the unit that is dealing with the program itself, MSCA, where we basically shape the policy and the strategic direction of the program. So in the next few minutes, I will introduce you to some key principles, policy priorities of MSCA that we hope you will take into account in your proposal. So you might think at first that this is a bit too abstract. It can be probably at this stage, if you are new to the program, to have all the useful tips and tricks. But we also thought that it would be important to set the context and to understand what are those key principles, what we want you to address when applying to this program. So let's start. Next, please, Ahmed. So, as you may already know, MSCA is the EU's flagship program for research and training, for supporting researchers' careers, also skills development and mobility. When speaking about mobility, we don't only have to think about moving from one country or to another, but it can be also besides international, it can be also intersectoral or even interdisciplinary. You will see more this in details when Christina will speak about each action. And what is also important, that the program is really open to the whole world, not only from Europe, but really across the whole world. Next, please. So, first of all, what is important to highlight is that MSCA is a bottom-up program. What does this mean exactly? This means that the applicants are free to choose the topic they want to address, they want to work on. But beyond that, these projects can also contribute to a broader EU policy priorities. So not only MSCA, but there are certain policy priorities that are really in the key of basically all EU programs. So these are like strategies for competitiveness, equity, resilience, international cooperation, and, for example, sustainability. So let's take a closer look at these key policy priorities. Next, please. So first up, we have the new European Charter for Researchers, which replaces the old European Charter for Researchers and the Code of Conduct for the recruitment of researchers. And this document was adopted in 2023. And now it combines, so previously there were two different documents guiding the researchers and participating organizations, and now it combines both elements into one single document, and that makes it much more user-friendly. The Charter aims to promote open, merit-based and transparent recruitment procedures, but also attractive working conditions for researchers and staff members participating in the program. So it's a key part of the MSCA framework, and all funded host organizations are really expected to make real efforts to apply these. Next, please. In MSCA, we also place a strong emphasis on good supervision and mentoring. The MSCA supervision guidelines can be a really very helpful source for you. And in fact, a new version was just published a couple of weeks ago. It is published on our website. So basically, these guidelines will give you practical recommendation on things like integrating researchers into your teams, or the mentoring of researchers, and even the well-being or communication and conflict resolution, and of course as well training and professional development. Next, please. Yes. Now, promoting equal opportunities, diversity, and inclusiveness. This is also a key goal of the MSCA program. And this could mean, for example, addressing barriers related gender or disability. When it comes to gender equality, specifically, most organizations will need to have a gender equality plan in place. That's basically a public document that sets out the organization's approach and policies on different kind of gender issues. Next, please. Another important goal of the program is to promote open science and responsible research. So what does this mean? This means that the researchers are expected to provide open access to their research results and, for example, take part in open peer review. So the idea here is really to encourage open collaborative work and to share knowledge and tools as early and as widely as it is possible throughout the research process itself. Next, please. So now fundamental values, especially the academic freedom and the freedom of scientific research, these are also at the heart of MSCA, and of course these are more and more hot topic, let's say. So to give you a concrete example, MSCA projects are encouraged to support access for researchers at risk. I would like to recommend taking a look at the Inspire Europe project. You can see the document on the screen, and there is also a link. I think the slides will be shared with you after the presentation. So it's an MSCA founded network, the Inspire Europe, and it's a network of organizations that support researchers in vulnerable situation. And I also want to invite you to check out the MSCA guidelines on including researchers at risk. So all these documents are available on our website, and in these specific cases can really guide you through these situations. Next, please. So connected to this, the European Commission has also published guidelines on how to mitigate foreign interference in research and innovation. And the guidelines share best practices to help the universities, the research organization to protect their core values and maintain let's say the integrity of their work. Next one. Oops, sorry, I lost you. Do you still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but so MSCA is also strongly committed to tackling climate change and other environmental challenges. And to support this, we have published the MSCA Green Charter, which is a full set of useful examples and good practices. The Charter acts as a code of practice, both for individual researchers and for institutions. And of course, on the long run, let's say, on a longer if we see a longer perspective, the idea is really that we somehow decrease the environmental footprint of MSCA funded projects. So when putting together your proposal, it's also important to think of this element. Next, please. Through MSCA, we also aim to strengthen connection between research and innovation partners. And this is why we really want to encourage creating synergies and also complementaries with other funding sources. So what could be these other funding sources? So these are like, for example, the European Institute for Innovation and Technology, or Erasmus, what I'm pretty sure you know pretty well. It's always good, especially in the case of third countries, when you look for good strategies on how to be more successful in the MSCA project. For example, we also advise to rely on the networks of Erasmus Plus, since their communication channels are already much more developed, and what we see as the main issue of not only African but all third countries applying to MSCAs is basically the lack of information. So even if you don't actively build synergies throughout the program, it can be a very, very good tool to rely on Erasmus Plus networks to support the dissemination and information about the MSCA. Next, please. So finally, we are always working to improve the MSCA. So it's a constant work, both strategically and in how it is implemented. And this is why every year we gather feedback from projects, project participants, organizations, researchers, from the MSCA national contact points, and also from our alumni community. This is represented by the Marie Curie Alumni Association, and this input helps us update and improve the MSCA work program. So it is really important that in addition to submitting project reports, if you're already part of a consortium or a project, so it's important that the participating organizations also encourage their fellows to complete the end of fellowship questionnaire, and also the follow-up questionnaire that comes 2 years later. So all of this feedback, especially with this specific element that you are coming from a third country, from Africa in this case, it's incredibly valuable for improving MSCA. Next, please. Yes, I will in fact stop there, but before I finish, I just want to highlight that we now have a new LinkedIn account where we regularly share updates and all kind of important information about the program, the upcoming calls. I really encourage you to follow us there, and also to subscribe to our newsletter, so you don't miss any of the important news and opportunities. Again, this could be a useful source of information for you. So that's all on my part. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dora, for this nice presentation and nice introduction. Today, we will present, of course, with our colleague Cristina Gomez, all details related to call topics and how to participate and how to navigate in the portal. But before this, I will try to present EURAXESS Africa services, and we move forward to Cristina. So I will try to share my screen again. And let me, okay. Okay, let me first of all present EURAXESS Africa, and I will try to present both of us. Me, I'm Ahmed Malel, regional representative for EURAXESS Africa. I am associate professor at University of Sousse, and my colleague Ilfana, who is based in Addis Ababa University. And both of us, we cover the whole continent, and we try to organize a lot of events, online events and face-to-face events, and we try to connect with all stakeholders, researchers, and innovators across the continent. So, as EURAXESS, we provide free access to information about research in Europe. We promote opportunities for research funding, including European Research Council grants, MSCA, like today session, Horizon Europe programs, Africa Initiative 3, for example. And we try to organize workshops to give practical tips on how to pursue a scientific career in Europe, and try to enhance the international collaboration and transnational mobility opportunities. The network of EURAXESS is open to all nationalities, research fields, and at all levels. Starts from master degree, PhD student, doctors, postdoc, and senior researchers. So, when you try to visit EURAXESS portal, you can see in the tab of network the option of EURAXESS worldwide. When you click on it, you will see the 9 hubs in the world, and please, you are based on Africa. We are based on Africa. We should connect with EURAXESS Africa. And when here you can see some photos related to our activities in the continent, in South Africa, in Morocco, in Cameroon, also in Cairo, in Dakar, in Senegal, Mauritius, and Nigeria, and many, many countries. And we try to, of course, plan to visit new countries until this year and next year. So Since the start of EURAXESS, we made more than 850 news articles, and we try to communicate about opportunities, to communicate about uh, cooperation in the research and innovation between Europe and Africa. We try to promote funding opportunities, research mobility programs, and we are connected with the African Union, of course, with the European Union, with many organizations like IWF, the EU delegations, African Academy of Sciences, UNIMED, Union for the Mediterranean, and we try to participate in many flagship events organized in Africa, like GITEX Africa, the Afri Business Incubator Summit. It will be organized soon in August in Tunisia. And uh, uh, our mission is to promote Pillar 1 and the Horizon Europe, MSCA actions, ERC grants, and we promote the Pillar 2 from Cluster 1 to Cluster 6. And of course, we have already organized many webinars related to Africa Initiative and the MED Initiative. You can visit our YouTube channel to see the recording videos, and you can see, of course, the website of EURAXESS, and you can of course, download all presentations and all sites, and it's for free. So, some figures about the participation of some countries in Horizon Europe, and you can see the difference between 24 to 25, and not only the increase in number of eligible proposals, but the quality reflects in the retained proposals between the 1 year difference between 24 to 25. And we try to enhance more these participations to get more and more funds from Horizon Europe. So when you see EURAXESS portal and when you click on this option, jobs and opportunities like this, you will be able to connect with a lot of thousands, this number is 10,000 opportunities around Europe. And of course, you can use the filter to search for jobs or funding or hosting. And you can use the filters, you can match your profile, but you should before create your profile for free and update your profile, add all information about your skills, about your CV, and you'll be able to connect with all opportunities. And don't hesitate to apply if you are eligible. And please try to read all job information before this and apply, and you'll be able to get the opportunity through EURAXESS portal. Usually in EURAXESS, we try to promote Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. We try to promote European Research Council grants. And today we have many opportunities under MSCA actions. My colleague Christina, she takes the floor after me to present everything. And we have the Q&A session today to receive your questions, and we try to respond to all your questions. So today is the English session, but tomorrow it will be the French session. Don't hesitate to circulate this information with your colleagues. Francophone, they can participate with us, and we will try to present everything in French. So with EURAXESS, you will be able to receive our flash notes, you receive our newsletter, and each flash note contains a lot of useful information about cooperation, research, and innovation between Europe and Africa. And please connect with us. If you are not a member, you can be a member for free. Just sign up for free membership to EURAXESS Africa. When you click and when you put in Google EURAXESS Africa, you'll be able to connect with our portal. So thank you for your attention. Please note this email, africa@euraxess.net. You can connect with us, and we'll try to answer all your questions soon. So now I will stop sharing my screen. I will pass the floor and give the floor to my colleague Cristina Gomez. Cristina, are you there?
I am
Cristina?
indeed. Sorry, it's just taking more than expected, but I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. The floor is yours, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. So just if you could confirm with me that you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
And that it works good for you. Okay. So let me just move it a bit down here so that I can see myself. Okay, sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so now it should work. So thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Dora, for this introduction also on the MSCA actions. My name is Christina. I am a colleague of Ahmed from EURAXESS Africa. I'm actually the EURAXESS Worldwide Coordinator, but I guess I am delivering this presentation because of my past hat as a national contact point for Spain for over 10 years for the MSCA actions. So I'm just going to time myself because I want to go through all the different possibilities that you all have under MSCA, but we're going to focus today the presentation on the postdoctoral fellowships that are open. The call is open right now and it will close in September. So it's the perfect time for you, researchers, if you wish to prepare a proposal to submit for this call. So let's first of all have a very quick overview of the actions under Horizon Europe, and then we will dig into the call, how to apply, how to navigate through the Funding Tenders Opportunities portal for this specific application. What is the proposal structure? What are you going to be evaluated for? And some specific tips for you to prepare it. So as you might know, these MSCA actions are part of the Horizon Europe program, that is the largest funding framework program for research and innovation from Europe. So Pillar 1 actually intends to attract and retain the best research talents from the whole work, and also to make accessible the excellent research infrastructures. This is where the MSCA are located. When we talk about Skłodowska-Curie actions or MSCA, we talk about 5 different actions. We have doctoral networks, postdoctoral fellowships, staff exchanges, co-funds, and MSCA and the citizens. And researchers and institutions can participate in the different opportunities given. Dora from DGAC already mentioned some of the main features of the program, but let me just go deep a little bit more into some of them. MSCA is indeed a flagship program from the European Commission for over 25 years now that funds training, career development, and mobility. So you will see that it will be possible for researchers from different stages, from doctoral candidates to postdoctoral fellows, to really receive funding in this program. And it is a program that funds research, excellence research, from a bottom-up approach. This means that each researcher, each institution can decide what type of program or what type of project and research line wants to see funded. This is what they will deliver, and the Commission will decide if this can be funded. Obviously, it has to be aligned, and this is what Dora presented today with the many different initiatives from the European Commission, be it the Green Deal or any other policies that have already been explained by Dora. It is about mobility. It's the aim to reach this research and career development mobility in a triple dimension. International, because you will see that you will have to move from country to country when you carry out your project. Intersectoral, because even if this is the excellent pillar, the excellent science pillar, you will need, or you will be exposed to different sectors when you work, like non-academic sectors, for instance. And it's also about interdisciplinary research, because you can see that it is relevant for you to work with different researchers from different disciplines to really affront and confront the different societal challenges that we are all facing right now. It is about giving the researchers attractive working conditions. And this will impact not only you as a researcher, as an individual, it will also impact the institutions that you work at, and obviously the research and innovation field that is funded. So those will be the main features of the program. When we approach the different actions, you will see that you have actions that will allow you to participate as a researcher individually, but also that will allow your institution in Africa to participate as an institution in a network, in a consortium. When we start, we normally introduce first the doctoral networks, because this is the creation of different consortia that will be funded. And the idea is to set up doctoral programs that will work with industry, with academia, including research institutions, company, universities, to create a doctoral network where the different PhD candidates will be trained in a global but also individual research projects. Then the doctoral candidates can move on, I will say, or can see a different opportunity in their research career to opt for a postdoctoral fellowship. This is the mono-beneficiary action that we will talk about more in details today, that is intended for postdoctoral researchers through a research project that will help you develop your skills in academia, but also beyond. Another possibility for institutions and researchers to participate are the staff exchange. And this is by far the most international action, not only of MSCA, but also of the Horizon Europe program. It's a network, a consortium of different institutions that will allow for short-term international and intersectoral exchanges of staff. And this will increase the capacity, and the internationalization of your institution. Besides these three actions that I think are the most popular one, the ones that are more promoted because they are really open to collaborations throughout the globe, you can also see the MSCA co-fund mechanism. This is more, I would say, focus on facilitating the co-funding. So your institution has some funds and it will be co-funded by the European Commission that co-funds doctoral and postdoctoral programs at regional, national, or international level. The idea here is to take the best practices of the program and to really promote them throughout the world. Then finally, we have a different action that is called MSCA and the Citizens. And this is not a standard action, I will say. This is an initiative that focuses on bringing together research and innovation closer to the public. Meaning the idea is to interact with the society, with the children who really should be eager to learn more about science, with initiatives such as the European Researchers' Night and the Researchers at School, which really aim to make science more accessible to the public and to engage them. So now my idea was to start explaining the MSCA postdoctoral fellowship call after giving you an overview of the different actions for institutions and for researchers under MSCA. But Ahmed, correct me if I'm wrong, would you like to explain actually a best practice for the MSCA and the Citizens call that is taking place in Tunisia? Am I correct? Is it now?
Okay, I can just present 2 or 3 slides about this project. It's the only, actually the only project in Africa. It's related to MSCA and Citizens. Let me try to share my screen again. Please, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So twice night. This is the project. So Tunisian well-being through inclusive science. It's under the call topic MSCA and Citizens for 24-25, and it's undergoing now this project, and with many partners from Tunisia, 4 public universities and 2 associations. So I want to explain the MSCA and Citizens. So just to see that the kickoff of the project, we made this kickoff in June 2024 in Hammamet, and it's about a lot of activities related to science, related to research, how to bring closer research and scientific to large public and to youth. And when you see, this is the European Research Night organized in September, 27th of September 2024. And you see a lot of activities with the large public and related to health, related to technology, related to social sciences. And of course, related to many and many fields in science in general. So we have not only research, European Researchers Night, but we have researchers at schools activities. And it's during 24 and 25 when we bring students, we bring youth to laboratory, to research center, and try to explain and to communicate more about the value of science, the value of many things related to science in general. So soon we will organize in 27 the September 2025 the European Researchers Night, and we have the EU corner. We have many clusters, and we try to invite the large public to be there to see how we can bring many things with science, and it's related to the communication and science in general. This is MSCA and citizens, and this project is the only project actually now in Africa. It's called Twice Night, and I want to just to present you this project. And of course, you can connect with the project when you put twice.night.eu or Twice Night in social media. You will be able to connect to see all activities organized, and it will be organized in this summer, of course. So that's all for me, Chris, and you can, of course, take the stage again. I will stop sharing my screen.
Okay, I'm sharing now, and
Yes.
I think exactly. And you can see it now, right? No.
No.
And now? Can you see it
No.
now? Okay, let me start again.
Okay, try to start again.
Sorry, this is as usual.
No problem. Okay.
Live problems, but it worked before, so it should work now. So I already answered some questions actually in the Q&A because people were sending their questions on the postdoctoral fellowship call.
Okay, we can see your screen. Just
You can see,
put
but
it
you
on.
cannot see it full screen, right?
Yes.
Can you see it full screen now?
Yes.
Okay,
Please go ahead.
now it works. Okay, good. So let's proceed. So I will start now with the postdoctoral fellowship call. And as I mentioned at the beginning, in fact, the call is open right now. So it's the good time for you to either, I don't know if some of you already have your idea in mind, your project in mind, and you've already contacted a host institution, a beneficiary that will host you and recruit you for the project in Europe. And if you haven't, we will also give you a couple of tips on where to find a supervisor and a host institution for you. So the call is open right now. It will close in September, the 10th of September, and it has a budget of over 274 million euros. You will see this is somehow the schedule of the call, meaning it will close in September 2025. The results will be out in February 2026, and it will not be until possibly April or May or June 2026 when you will be able to start your project. So just a little bit of what this MSCA postdoctoral fellowship is about. The idea is to foster excellence through the implementation of a research project, okay? It is a mono-beneficiary action because it is a host institution, a beneficiary institution in Europe who will receive the funds and recruit a researcher, an individual. And it is for postdoctoral researchers. When we talk about eligibility right now, you will see that there's a limit in research time in your life when you can really ask for this kind of funding. We talk about the triple I mobility, and the idea here is that you will not only increase your science and research capacity, but you will also be able to be trained in transferables and soft skills, meaning anything outside of being in the academia that will give you a lot of employability for your future. Also maybe to work outside of the academia in the non-academic sector and be able to better valorize your research results. You will be able to do secondments. This is a little bit of a European Commission jargon. Secondments worldwide. This means that while you're doing your research in Europe in a specific institution, you can also do specific research stays if needed in the project outside of your institution. So you have a project and you need to really have a clear idea of what is your research question. You will improve the state of the art in the specific field, but this has to come with really realistic and very well-defined research objectives. You will have 1, 2, or a little bit of more time to deliver your activities, and this needs to be feasible. As I just mentioned, you will have also training needs, and you need to know what you need to be trained of and what you expect during the project. And this will really give you a better and improved research career perspective. As we mentioned before, this is a bottom-up program, but it doesn't mean, it has an order. Therefore, you need to apply to one of those 8 research panels, okay? You can submit your proposal to the chemistry or to the social science and humanities, economic science, information science and engineering, environmental and geoscience, life sciences, mathematics, or physics panel. Meaning you have to choose one. When I will explain you later on how to submit your proposal, for those proposals that are really very interdisciplinary, you will see that there's a way for you to show this interdisciplinary when you define the different descriptors when you submit your proposals. And just to the right, you can see, and this is just indicative data for you to see that there are many different popular, I would say, panels, such as the life science, but also the social sciences and humanity panels are the ones that receive more proposals. Therefore, this is what you will see more projects funded. You have to choose, and this is one of the questions that was already asked in the chat, you have to choose one project that you want to submit with the specific institutions. Why am I saying this? Because there are 2 implementation modes that are possible within this call. You can choose the European fellowships that will allow you to move to Europe for a period of 1 to 2 years and carry out your research project with the host institution, university, research institution in Europe. Or you can prefer, maybe that's an option for you, but we will talk about eligibility right now, to opt for a global fellowship. The idea here is to carry out your research from 1 to 2 years outside of Europe and move back in a final return phase to Europe for a year. Therefore, you will see that the duration of the global fellowship is longer than the duration of the European fellowship. Now, when you participate in the MSCA call, you can just apply to one of those 2 modes. And for the cases, if we have people in the audience that already applied the year before, you really need to score up to 70% to be able to resubmit the year after with the same institution. So to go into details about eligibility for each of the 2 implementations modes, just for you to know that when you opt for a fellowship that is called the European Fellowship, to go to a host institution in Europe, when I say Europe, I'm talking about member states, 27 member states and associated countries to Europe. This is open for all nationalities, so no restrictions whatsoever where you come from. You can participate in this program. We mentioned the duration, and as it was mentioned by Dora at the beginning, this program is based on mobility criteria. Therefore, you need to comply with a mobility rule. And this means that, for instance, if you want to apply for a postdoctoral fellowship in Spain, you cannot have resided or carry out your activity in Spain for more than 12 months in the previous 36 months so 1 year in the previous 3 years in the country where you want to carry out your project in Spain, for instance, before the cut deadline. Everything is measured at the cut deadline. This is very important. You need to fulfill all these criteria by the 10th of September 2025. So this is a mobility rule that applies. We also mentioned that this call is open for postdoctoral researchers, but there's also a limitation, not on age, on research experience, meaning you cannot have more than 8 years of full-time research experience prior to this call deadline. There are obviously exceptions that apply. I'm not going to identify all of them, but if you have had a career break, you haven't been doing research after your PhD for a specific time, this will not be counted as research experience. If you have been out due to illness, this will not be counted. For instance, for parental and maternal leave, there is also an extension, so obviously exceptions are taken into consideration. When we talk about secondments, I mentioned before, this is a research stage that you can carry out within the project for a specific duration of time throughout the world if it's needed for it to be delivered. What's also possible, and this is the way that the European Commission has to support the integration of the non-academic world, the industry, the hospital, the public administrations in the field of research by allowing an extension of the project to carry out a non-academic placement in Europe at the end of the project. This will be, in a nutshell, what the European Fellowship is. The Global Fellowship, it's a little bit different in the sense that it starts outside of Europe in a third country and finalizes in Europe in a beneficiary. So this is not open, I would say, to everybody. It has restrictions. It is open to European researchers that are nationals from member states or associated countries to arise in Europe, but also to long-term residents in Europe. This means that if at some point in your research career you have lived and carried out your research in Europe for over 5 consecutive years, you can also apply for a global fellowship. As I mentioned before, the duration is a little bit longer because it includes an initial outgoing phase outside of Europe up to 2 years and a final return phase in Europe up to 12 months. Now here, the mobility rule is a little bit different because you have to fulfill this mobility rule in the country outside of Europe where you're going to start your project. Meaning that, for instance, if you start your project in South Africa, you cannot have resided in South Africa for more than a year in the last 3 years previous to the call deadlines. Then the rest of the things that you can see on the slides are exactly the same that for the European Fellowship, meaning there is a restriction on the scientific age, and you can also carry out secondments and placement in Europe at the end of the project. So, as I just mentioned, this eligibility you have to be aware of when you decide if you want to apply for this is your research experience, your nationality for the Global Fellowship. If you are a long-term resident in Europe, you can also apply, and the mobility rule that applies in different countries, depending if it's a European fellowship in Europe or if it's a global fellowship outside of Europe. I am aware that there are possibly a lot of questions regarding eligibility, and there are a couple of things I need you to know. One thing is that the Commission will not be asking for specific documents when you submit the proposal. It will be more the institution who is going to recruit you in Europe who will ask for these documents to ensure that you comply with the mobility and the research experience that you're looking to, they're looking here. So there's also possibility for you, provided by the European Commission, to calculate this 8-year research experience, because I know it offers a lot of questions here. So you have 2 specific links there that will guide you to the different documents provided by the Commission for you to be aware and to know if you really are eligible for the call. So how does it work? Because you heard me talking about beneficiaries, researchers, and also secondments and placements. So for you to apply for the postdoctoral fellowship, you need to have a beneficiary in Europe. This means that the host institution in Europe will recruit you as a researcher, will receive the fund, will sign a grant agreement with the Commission, and will also include in the institution the figure of the supervisor that will mentor you as a researcher when you participate and you deliver your tasks in the duration of the projects. Now, the beneficiary can be an institution from the academia, meaning a research institution, a university, but also an institution from the non-academic sector. You can also do your career in an NGO, you can do your career in an SME, you can do your career in a hospital, a museum. It all depends really on your research fields. Then we talk about researchers, and I mentioned the researcher who has the idea, which I guess is many of you in the audience. You're thinking that you have a project in mind and you really want to apply for this call. Therefore, you will have the idea and you will implement the project and you will be recruited by the institution. But you also have, and you will have in the institution in Europe, somebody who will supervise your work and who will guide you and who will mentor you. Dora was referring actually to the supervision guidelines of MSCA at the beginning of this webinar, because it is important to have somebody at the institution who has this role for you. Then it is possible, as we mentioned, to do secondments in another institution in Europe or outside of Europe during the project. And you will also have a phase in the global fellowship that is outside of Europe. The institutions that participate hosting the researchers in the global fellowships are called associated partners. So this again is terminology, but you need to be aware, and I think this is important. For Africa, the way it works is that we have 3 countries that are right now that could participate as associated, located in Europe, because they are associated to Horizon Europe program. This will be Tunisia, that already is associated, but also Egypt and Morocco are right now in the process of being associated. So they could participate in these calls as hosting you for a European fellowship. But it is important to note that the association agreement has not taken place yet for Egypt and Morocco. So this can change if the association agreement is not signed when the project is funded. And then for the rest of African countries, if there are also representatives from different institutions in Africa, please be aware that you can host in your African institution fellows for the outgoing phase of the global fellowship. And this is something very interesting because you will be attracting researchers for not cost at all, so freely, and they will be able to interact with your research capabilities in your institutions in Africa. And this is just an example for you to see how it works. For a European fellowship, this is the case, for instance, of a researcher that is from Tunisia who obtained a PhD in Tunisia in October 2018. So it hasn't been 8 years since he obtained it. And he's been living and working in Italy for the last 3 years. Let's say that these researchers wants to ask and to submit a proposal with a specific institution in Spain. This is a case of a research institution from the health sector in Spain, in Catalonia, in Barcelona. So this could be a possible proposal, for instance. In the case of a global fellowship, I know it doesn't really apply maybe too much, but it can happen. We can have a candidate, for instance, from a global fellowship coming from Ghana, who has been living in Portugal, remaining there for 6 years, so over 5 consecutive years before returning to Ghana, who obtained his PhD in Portugal in August 2019, and now there's but he's still eligible because he's been in Ghana since 2025. And sorry, there's a mistake. It's not the Chulalongkorn University, it's the Ghana University, the University of Ghana. So if that person has been living in Ghana only since the beginning of this year, he will also comply with the mobility rule in Ghana. How does it work funding-wise? This postdoctoral fund is based on unit costs. This means that you will receive 100% based on unit costs. You will be recruited, therefore you will have a salary for you that is composed of what is called the living allowance and the mobility allowance. And also, if you are entitled to it, you will receive a family allowance. Obviously, your life can change during the duration of the project. You can maybe get married once the project starts. You will be then applicable to receive this family allowance at a later stage. So what you can see on the left-hand side on the screen is the contribution for the researchers, and to the right-hand side, the institutional contribution for the institutions. Why do they get institutional contribution? To allow for the management and the implementation of the project, because you will not only receive your salary, but you will also receive funds to carry out your research project, to do training, to do career development, to go to different secondments if you wish, to do research stays, to gather for the material in the lab that needs to be bought, for instance. Now, it is important for you to know that the numbers that you see there, this is euros, obviously, and the final budget, it's very easy to determine because it's automatic. So once you include the number of months, for instance, a fellowship in Spain for 2 years, so 24 months, you will see the budget. It is important for you to know that this is not a net salary. So you need to deduct taxes from this amount. This is important. So this is information just for you to have an idea of what it looks like a fellowship in Spain. Obviously, the cost of living in Spain, in Tunisia, in France, in Italy differs. Therefore, there are country coefficient corrections that apply to the different countries. Now, how to apply and what does the proposal looks like? Now, maybe some of you have already your idea in mind and you already know where you're going, but in some cases, it's not like this right now. Although you need to think that now in July, it's time for you to really define where you want to go, who you want to do your project with, and what your aims are. Now, there are different options for you to really find a supervisor and a host institution in Europe. Obviously, you need to really work on your personal relations and your own, I will say, networks, but also attend different networking events, conferences, workshops in your thematic field that you are interested in, and try to be active as possible. You can also find in the Funding and Tender portal, in the partner search specific of the MSCA call, institutions that are there that have expressed an interest to host and to work with researchers all over the world to prepare the proposal. There's also an MSCA matchmaking platform in the framework of National Contact Point project that allows for interaction between supervisors, national contact points, researchers who really want to carry out a project together. And obviously also EURAXESS. And this will be, I would say, what I wanted to highlight a little bit more in details, because there's a specific hosting section in the EURAXESS portal that allows you to see, you can filter by country, you can include keywords from your scientific field, the information on the hosting offers that are available in the EURAXESS portal. For you to have a look, if you're interested in a research field or a country, you still have time to go for it and look for it, okay? So now you know where you're going, who or what institution you want to carry out your project with. And now it's time for you to go into details and start your project. How and where do you do this? You have to go to the Funding and Tenders portal. This is the place for you to prepare your project. And you can see that you have a lot of information even before starting working on your project that is official and that you really need to have a look at. And this is, for instance, what we call the guide for applicants, the work program, the template that gives you the specific information on how your MSCA PF will look like. So you have all these available for you just by entering into the Funding and Tenders portal, go into the MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship call page, and again, downloading all this information for you, because this will give you, the template is there. You don't have to innovate. You have the information that they will ask you to fill in each of the different parts of your proposal. Then you normally have to register yourself and get your code and your EU login to be able to then start your submission. Okay, it's true that it's possible for both sides, I will say, for the researcher who is preparing the proposal, but also for the host institution who will be hosting the proposal, the researchers, sorry, to start the submission. So you have to choose, and we mentioned this, you have to choose either a postdoctoral European fellowship or a postdoctoral global fellowship. You have to choose between the two implementation modes. Then you will be able to access I would say the backup or the backup office and start preparing your proposal. Okay, this is the page to prepare your application, and you can download the template that you have to fill in. The template that is the part B, that is the technical proposal. Now, one thing is the technical proposal, part B1 and B2, that we will talk into details about. And the other thing is part A, okay? Part A, it's done online. And here, the ideal things for you to do is to ask for the support of your EU grants office at your host institution. They will be able to help you because there's a lot of information that you need to fulfill about the institution, you as a researcher, obviously, to see if you comply with the mobility and the research experience, but also on the budget and some specific questions on the topic. So there you can see the structure of the MSCA PF proposal, an administrative part that you will fill online, and the part B, a technical one, that is 10 pages for you to convince the evaluator that your project is the right one, and this is the one that has to be really funded by the European Commission. So, very quickly, to go over the details of the administrative part, you need to fill in the specific details that are asked for all the 5 parts. So here is when the general information, you will see, we mentioned before, you will have to choose a specific panel where you will submit your proposal. This is very important. You don't have to neglect this phase because the European Commission defines the evaluators for your proposal based on keywords, on descriptors. So the more concrete you get on what type of research you're submitting, the best for you and the best, I would say, the closer evaluators to your research field you will have. Here you will see this is just a simulation. You have the information on the descriptors, the scientific area, the proposal title, but also the acronym. Remember, the acronym is going to be with you in your CV, in your research career forever. So choose a smart acronym also for you. And also here is where you will also include the abstract. Now, it is important for you to be aware, this is not a scientific abstract. This is a summary that will be made public actually afterwards if your project is funded. So you really have to give a lot of information in a very restricted way or in a very concise way. You need to be concise, but you also need to be clear on what are you going to deliver, what is the overall research theme, what are your research objectives, and what is the potential training for you in your career. And this will give REA, the Research Executive Agency, the idea of who can really access now this project and who will evaluate them. In case you have submitted before your proposal, you will be able to indicate here that this is a resubmission. Then information that the participants from the part of the institution who will recruit you, indicated who is the supervisor, who are the key persons there, and also information of you as a participant. If you fulfill with the research experience as such, because you haven't trespassed these 8 years of research experience, this is automatic. If not, and you have more than 8 years of research experience, you will have to somehow indicate the reasons why you need an extension there. And also information for you to include on the mobility, to ensure you fulfill the mobility criteria. You need to list publications that can be from yourself as a researcher or from the host organization related to the research field. The budget is also included here, as I mentioned before, this is something that is done automatically. So it's very easy, and you will have the slides anyway. In case there are any specific ethics aspects that you need to deal with in the project, this is also the phase where you need to include information on it. And I think I will skip to this because we might be a little bit late in time. Ahmed, how much time do you have left? More or less, if you can tell me.
Yeah, please go ahead, Chris.
Okay,
So we have
part B2. Part B2, this is the main part of the proposal, and this is where you really need to put all your efforts on. You need to convince the evaluator in these B1 10 pages that your project is excellent, it has an impact, and it will be implemented accordingly to the rules of the program. Page B2, which really has not page limits, except from a recommendation for the CV of the researcher of a maximum of 5 pages, is where you have to include additional information that will also be viewed by the experts. Okay, so it is important to also include this information here. A letter of commitment is needed for the case of the global fellowship for the outgoing institutions outside of Europe. So when we talk about excellence, impact, and implementations, those are the 3 criteria. What will be the excellent? What is your project about? What do you intend to pursue? What do you pursue with this research? What do you want to innovate in? What kind of methodology are you going to use to do this? Is this an excellent one, an innovative one? And also, what kind of training will you have in the execution of the project that will allow you to really improve and increase your career as a researcher? Then you do an activity to obtain something. So why do you do this project is the impact part. What do you intend to achieve, and what kind of evidence will you collect, and what kind of outputs will you have that demonstrate the added value of the project? And then the implementation and how will you achieve these objectives with very specific and timely deliverables, milestone, and a work plan that will ensure to the Commission that the funds that you have been given will be very well used. So when we talk about the evaluation criteria, I think it is important for you to know how the projects are evaluated. And it's a matter of a panel of 3 different experts that individually will evaluate your proposals. These experts can be from your same research fields, but they can also be experts in the field with not that expertise in the specificities of your project. So you really need to construct your project in a very accurate and rigorous way, but also allow for generalist people and generalist experts to read it and therefore to understand it. When we talk about evaluation, the criteria, it's 50% of the weight goes to the excellent, 30% to the impact, and 20% to the implementation. And this is the way it is scored. After the individual evaluation, you will be able to see that there's a consensus meeting between the different experts that reach the final consensus, and the final ranking list comes out of these discussions. So these are the different criteria. And I know this, when you see these maybe on the screen, it is kind of challenges, but at the end of the day, you need to know that in those 10 pages, you really need to be concrete on your project research and innovation objectives, list them in a very specific way. Again, it has to be feasible. You have to show how you go beyond the state of the art. And how are you going to do it? Following a proposed methodology. Sometimes you will see that your project is interdisciplinary. You have to explain why, because you're mixing different disciplines in your protocols, maybe because you as a researcher and your supervisor are coming from very different fields, and this is why the project is interdisciplinary. You need to take into account when you talk about the methodology, and this was also mentioned by Dora at the beginning, the gender dimension of your project, meaning not only health or of life science projects have gender dimension, it can apply to any other type of projects. Because if your project can have different results, for instance, can impact differently a woman, a man, a child, or an elderly person, you have to embed this in the methodology while working and doing your research. Then remember that we talk about supervision and training and two-way transfer of knowledge. This is important. This fellowship is about you as a researcher providing your expertise to a specific institution and receiving on the other way expertise and knowledge from the host institution in specific fields. So you need to have here information on the training as such. What kind of training do you need, and what kind of training are you going to be receiving, not only from the scientific perspective, but also on soft skill, communication, how to get public funding, what about AI in science, artificial intelligence in science, for instance, etc., etc., etc. And then when it comes to the last one, quality and appropriateness of the researcher's professional experience, competence, and skill, this is about showing to the experts that you are the right candidate to fulfill the activities and the proposed goals. So when the when the evaluators have a look at this section, they normally also have a look at the B2, that is the CV that you present. So ensure that you have the right information and the same information under part B2 that the one you include in this excellence section. Then when we talk about impact, it has an impact at different levels. We mentioned this before. It will have an impact on your research career because it will improve your employability. And here you need to see and do a little bit of perspective exercise. Where do you see yourself in the next times or years when the project starts? And what did you receive during the project that will enable you to be, for instance, working in the non-academia? This can be also for you a possibility in your career path. So you need to really say, where do you see yourself? And thanks to what capabilities and that you have mentioned in the excellence sections. Then it is about showing that this project had an impact. Therefore, you really need to show the outcomes and the impacts. And you need to show how you're going to reach out to the different audiences to convey these different impacts. Therefore, it is important for you to know that it's not the same thing to disseminate the research results to normally to the scientific community, but not only. I mean, you can go to a conference, you can write a paper, but you can also address industry policymakers with specific reports, for instance, to disseminate the results because they will use these results. It's different to communicate the project and the actions and the results of the project. This goes to a more wide audience, to the society also, for instance. And it's also different, and you need to show if you think that you're going to exploit your results, how do you think they can be exploited for a commercial, societal, or political purpose. So you really have to show what kind of activities you will do to valorize and optimize and disseminate your activities and your results, because there will be impacts. And you have to show and to try to measure the magnitude and the importance of these specific impacts and how your project contributed to it. So it's true that normally a project will always have a scientific impact, but you will have also projects that will have a societal and economic impacts. And this is just for you to understand a little bit of what we mean by these different impacts. It is important in this section to really align yourself with the different initiatives, EU policy, roadmaps that are in your specific field going on at the specific time. It is important. With the scientific impact, you will contribute to the advancement of the state of the art. You will generate new knowledge. You might improve an equipment or specific infrastructure. When you provide economic and technological impact, it's because you will be able to create new services, or you will bring products close to the market. For instance, you can, by establishing a specific protocol, reduce costs or efficiency, or increase the efficiency in a specific process. And obviously, by societal impact, we mean that you will be able to improve public policies and decisions based on your scientific evidence, on your results. Or you can maybe raise public awareness on a certain issues. When we talk about, and let me go back and forward just to show you the whole implementation side. When we talk about the implementation plan and the implementation of the project, we talk about ensuring that you have a work plan, that you will be able to deliver the activities that you have and the objectives that you have included in the excellence section, and that you will also assign the efforts that you need to dedicate to this. This is the place where you talk normally about the institutions, their capability, their infrastructures, and why you chose them as an institution to carry out your research. It is important to note that you will structure your plan in work packages, in tasks, and you will have deliverables, milestone, meaning outputs or specific time in the project that are very important. And the evaluators will see a Gantt chart with information on administrative procedures for them to check if really you will manage the resources well. Important to include here the risks that you see happening during your 2 or 3 years time project, because it is a project that is a living one, so you have to identify and define contingency plans for it. I normally show these slides because I think it is important how you reflect the different main features of MSCA in the proposals, okay? In the different parts and sections of the proposals. So to finish with, I would like just to mention some tips that makes a proposal a good one. And after having reviewed many of them, I can say that it is an individual project, that is true, but it is a collaborative work. You really, as a researcher, need to work with your host institution in Europe and with your associated partners if you're doing a global fellowship, together with your supervisor, to really show that this is much more than a research project. You have to show that you will have and you will see your research capacities increase. You will have and benefit from complementary skills via training. So you really need to do this match between you as a researcher, your supervisor, the double way of transfer knowledge that will exist in the project. And some general comments. Now we are on the 2nd of July, so I hope many of the ones that are listening to us right now already have your proposal in mind. You already started working on it, because it takes time. There's a lot of documentation, and you will see that we will include some links for you concerning relevant EU policies that you need to be aware of when you write, specifically the ones to your field. Those are very important. Get your host institution involved. I just mentioned this in my previous line. It is very important. Also, you can approach the national contact points in your destination country in Europe, together with the staff from the host institutions. Those are very valuable people who are aware of the program and can help you. Even in some countries, there's a pre-screening services for proposals. Then remember the criteria. We are looking at 50% science, 30% impact, 20% implementation. You need to give 100 in each of them. We can see projects funded with 92, 93, 94 as a score out of 100. So this is really excellence, quality science and projects. So do not neglect the impact and the implementation, because it's only a 30 and a 20%. Many of you write the excellence section really excellently, because this is what you do, but you also need to get support and need to devote time to the rest of the criteria. Do not innovate with the format. Just download it from the calls participation, the funding intended portals. And if possible for you, you can also try to use images to illustrate what you want to say. For instance, you can illustrate a methodology that will give you a visual, and that will help the evaluators to really understand at a glance what you're talking about, and use keywords. Those are important, buzzwords that needs to be in your proposal always. There's a lot of information for you. Dora from DGAC already mentioned at the beginning some of them: the guidelines of supervision, the Green Charter that will enable you to fulfill in part B2 these environmental aspects that you need to take care when you manage a project, but also some other such as the guidelines for inclusion of researchers at risk, the European Charter for Researchers that you need to be aware of. So please be aware of the funding intenders portal. This is the official website of the Commission. This is where you need to upload and submit your proposal. There are, apart from the national contact points in your different countries, a network of national contact points with the project that delivers a lot of material, very useful information, just for instance, such as the handbooks or statistics on the different calls. So have a look at that website. And obviously, of course, you have our 2 colleagues in Africa that are close to you and that will also be able to either help you directly with some of the questions, but also direct you, if not possible, to help you to any other person that might. There's a lot of news, events, and social media relevant information on that website. Now, this is all from my side. I always like to end my presentations with a quote from Marie Skłodowska-Curie, who said that nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood. So I hope with this presentation we managed to give you some ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for that excellent presentation. We will now move to the Q&A session. I think we got a lot of questions. We'll take a few questions live, if you want. And for participants, please don't hesitate to submit any additional questions later if we run out of the time today, okay? let's start with the Q&A tab. So you can raise your hand if you want to. We can allow some live questions, please. Dear participant, please. Okay, let's see. Please, we have some questions. Okay, let's start with the first one. Please go ahead. Comfort.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. How are you?
Thank you, fine.
I'm Comfort from Kampala International University, Western Campus, Ishaka Bushenyi. So I had asked in the Q&A that what are the eligibilities or qualifications for an institution to be a host? So African countries qualified to participate as hosts in postdoctoral fellowships? Thank you. Did you get my question?
Yes, we did. Thank you, Comfort. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, in fact, for the European fellowships, in general, the beneficiaries are based in Europe. That be member states and associated countries to the program. So we have right now 3 African countries that are, one is already associated, Tunisia. So you can have you can conduct a European fellowship in a Tunisian institution. Okay, that is possible. And we have Egypt and Morocco that are also in the process of being associated to Horizon Europe. So right now they can also actually for the call participate as countries where you can have a European fellowship. Now, the rest of Africa can participate, the institutions hosting researchers in the global fellowship, this outgoing phase that starts the project from 1 to 2 years. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to actually upload any hosting offers in the EURAXESS website if you, as an institution from any African country, can be hosting a researcher for up to 2 years for a global fellowship. What kind of requisite or qualification? I don't think there's any specific qualification as such, but I mean, you have to be obviously an institution that is dealing and is doing research and innovation, university, research center, but it can also be a company, an SME, where you will provide for the researcher the time, the space, the infrastructure, and the supervision team, the supervisor, to be part of the team when the project is taking place. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's see now Dr. Isti. Please, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just have a quick question based on the mobility of the fellowship. So are you allowed to be based at your home institution in the African country, but visit your European institution for shorter periods of time because of family responsibilities? So, for example,
yeah, because it's breaking up for me. I can't really hear you well.
For 12 months with the family.
Yeah, Dr. Isti,
okay.
please,
I'm asking about
can
the
you
mobility of the fellowship.
The mobility or the eligibility, the mobility.
If you're talking,
yes,
no, mobility of the fellowship.
The modality. Okay.
Spend shorter periods of time at your host institution due to family responsibility.
Sorry, I couldn't, I'm not sure I got the question right, but if you're talking, because you were talking about secondments as well, is it?
No, not secondment, mobility. My question is in the Q&A. Perhaps you could just address the question.
Okay, I'll try to look for it. Sorry.
Let me see if I can find it. Third one from the bottom.
We try to say
it. Criteria doesn't appear feasible for researchers with families.
Okay, I do not see it.
Do you see
Is it, did
the
you include your
fellowship
name?
criteria about family? No, it's anonymous.
Oh, it's anonymous. Okay,
Ah.
let me go ahead and look for the anonymous. I'll try to find it.
Third from the bottom.
Okay.
Starting from the bottom. Okay. Can a last year PhD student applying? That's not it, right? Because it's a PhD, so he needs to have, the person needs to have the PhD already deliver. What
Fellowship
time?
criteria and family responsibility.
Cost of the research are limited per month. Is that correct? Yes, 1,000 euro per month, but it can be managed in a different way. This is not anonymous.
I can just repost it quickly.
I am planning to apply for the postdoctoral fellowship. I did my PhD with co-supervisor at a university in a new country. Is that it?
No, I just reposted it. It will be at the bottom of the list.
No, okay. It's
the fellowship criteria doesn't appear feasible for researchers with family. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. How is it feasible to relocate your family for a period of 12 months? Is it possible to do the research at your home institution, but regularly visit the European institution for certain periods? No. So, well, two answers, I would say. You need, this is physical mobility. To conduct your project, you need to go to the institution in the country that you have applied with. So you need to be present there. Obviously, I am aware that, teleworking is everywhere in the world for specific periods of time. That applies to everybody. But normally you're talking about relocation for 12 months. You know that this is a minimum. Normally, the European fellowships are up to 2 years, okay? Are up to 2 years. Now, I have to say that the mobility allowance, and I will have to double check this. So, I think you have my details. I will include them. So get back to me. You are entitled to the mobility allowance, but it doesn't mean that your family has to move with you. Okay, if you are married, if you have children, you're entitled to the mobility allowance. If they move or if they don't move with you, that's a different thing that can happen. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, that answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Esti. So we move to Pascal. Pascal, please go ahead.
So I have one question related to the Marie Curie doctoral training network. Is it possible?
Yes.
So
Yes.
my question is, I read that a lot of African countries can be both beneficiary or associate. My question is, can they be the primary supervisor of a student? Can they issue the degree, or the degree should be issued by a European institution?
I think there are some of the modes allow for co-supervision and co-delivering of PhD. Okay, the joints or even the industry are include the co-supervision and the co-delivery of the PhD titles. But for that, I know that the coordinator would always be a European institution, of course, but there are possibility to do this double title for sure. For specific details, I think it's better to relate with a specific NCP who can, give you a more concrete answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Let's move to Masijana. Masijana, please.
Okay, thank you. I just
Thank you.
needed to find out about the issue of the staff exchange program.
Mm-hmm.
Is it referring to research only, or one will be also expected to teach?
Okay, this is about research and innovation. It is a program that it actually works on the basis of secondments, what we call secondments or exchanges, meaning if you have a consortia and it has to be a minimum of 3 institutions, 2 based in Europe, 1 based outside of Europe, that will create a consortium and develop a research and innovation project based on the exchanges of staff in the different institutions, okay? So normally teaching, it's something that is, I will say, included mainly in all the postdoctoral fellowships as part of the training of researchers, but the idea of the staff exchanges is to more focus on the research and innovation aspects of the project.
Thank you so much. I'm covered.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to Tarovinga Badza.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So my question is related to the European postdoctoral fellowship.
Okay.
Let's say I have an idea and I would like to secure a host. Is it allowed that probably to increase my probability? I conduct one probably in Germany, and then probably I see someone who is fit in Denmark, and then I conduct the one in Denmark as well at the same time.
Okay. Thank you for your question. So I guess you can contact as many supervisors and institutions as you think you can to show your project and to confront ideas and to discuss the possibility to work together. But you can only submit one proposal. So I'm not saying it's not possible for you to define and look for different hosts, but you can only submit one. So once you have talked with different scientists in your fields, I guess you have to choose the one that really suits you more and that shows a better project, because this is the one that you can present. You cannot present 2 or 3 or 4 different projects to the call.
Oh, okay, thanks so much. I'm answered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The last question to Milaku, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is about the number of years of PhD completion, which is taken as a requirement. Directly to go to my question, how about universities which were suffering from armed conflicts? For instance, in my case, for the last years, my area is suffering from armed conflict. Then, can it be deducted from the requirement?
You mean the PhD title, the research experience?
Yeah.
In the postdoctoral fellowships, I think this is a compulsory eligibility criteria, meaning if you do not have your PhD by the time of the call deadline, it will be not possible for you to participate. But I am aware there are specific actions that support, as we mentioned, the researchers in conflict areas. We can find out if there are specific instruments for you. But in the PF as such, this is a compulsory requirement. I mean, there are, for instance, requirements regards to mobility that are somehow waived when it comes to refugees, for these 12 months in the 36 months prior to the call deadlines, depending when, for instance, when they ask for the refugee status, this is not counted as mobility. So there are some specificities concerning the mobility requirement. But as far as I know, the PhD requirement is compulsory. But I mean, this is again, these open questions that we might not have 100% sure a correct answer. Please send this to us by email and we will respond.
Thank you so much.
So I think just Chris, he should justify that he has at least not more than 8 years active in the active period in research. This is the most. So allow me, Chris, to share my screen again. I will try to present how to use the EURAXESS portal in order to see all hosting offers already there in EURAXESS portal. So we start usually with EURAXESS, this EURAXESS. Okay. After that, we will have this the EURAXESS portal, and we have this nice option, jobs and opportunities. You click on it. After that, search for jobs. Okay. or search for hosting, we have the same. So you can just for the offer type, click on only hosting like that, and click on apply filters. You will see actually in the EURAXESS portal, there is more than 458 hosting offers. So what you see, it's hosting offer for MSCA postdoctoral fellowship, and there is a lot of opportunities to use through EURAXESS portal. And this is already said by Christina about EURAXESS, the possibility to use this useful portal in order to identify some hosting organizations. This is the first way. There is another way through funding and tenders portal, okay? And we should navigate through the call topic related to BF for 25, so call of proposals like that. After that, we should select the period, and we should select the program. It's Horizon Europe, and we can click on just keep forthcoming or open for submission, and click on all filters. You can see in the architecture of the program, the FIA one, the excellent science, we have the call topic related to MSCA. We should select and view results. You will see now we have many call topics, and of course, we can see MSCA postdoctoral fellowships 2025, and the deadline is 10 of September 2025. When we click on this, you will see all details related to this call topic, and of course, you'll be able to click on this useful tool. It's partner search announcement. When you click on it, you will be able to connect, of course, with many organizations. They look to host a PF under this call topic. This is for my side, small live demonstration, how to use both EURAXESS portal, funding and tender opportunities portal, to try to be able to get these opportunities and submit your proposal under this call topic. So I will stop sharing my screen and go back to you, please.
Thank you, Ahmed. I was just trying to answer some other some of the many questions. So please, just the main eligibility criteria so that they're clear, because I can still see some doubts. The European fellowships are open for everybody, no restrictions whatsoever on nationality. Everybody from different countries or from all over the world can come to Europe to do their research. What you need for that is a host institution with a supervisor in Europe. Ahmed showed you that there's a lot of still hosting offers available in EURAXESS. So you need to find an institution in Europe. And when I say Europe, I mean the 27 associated countries, the 27 member states, but also Tunisia in Africa is associated to Horizon Europe, and Egypt and Morocco are in the transitional period because they're also negotiating their association. When it comes to mobility, there's a mobility rule for you to fulfill. And when it comes to research experience, once you have your PhD, by the call deadline, even if you just got it in June, you can apply because you already have your PhD. So you can be successful. I saw a couple of questions saying, but I just got my PhD. Can I apply? Yes, because you might be successful. I mean, there's a coverage there from 1 to 3, 4 years actually after PhD, and those are the most successful participants. So you have your PhD, you can apply up to 8 years of research experience. There might be exceptions. You might have been on maternity leave. You might have been outside of research. This is taken into account, okay? I think I just wanted to clarify this just to ensure that it is open to all research fields. I got people asking about social, social and humanities, about life sciences, agronomy. Everybody is open, everybody is welcome, and all the research fields are also funded. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Chris. I think we come to the end. We got a lot of questions, but we try to. I put the email africa@euraxess.net. Don't hesitate to contact us, where we try to give you all answers as soon as possible. And save the date for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have the French session. It's the same webinar, but we'll try to explain everything in French. And thanks a lot for your attention. More than 250 until the end of this webinar already there with us. Thank you, Chris, for your nice presentation. I love your presentations because you give a lot of insight, a lot of tips on how to succeed the proposal under MSCA actions. Thanks a lot, and we can say bye-bye.
Goodbye. Have a good day to all of
Yes.
you. Best of luck.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye.